General Hospital spoilers for the week of April 28 to May 2 tease that Kai Taylor is no longer just a man preparing for a surgery. In a moment that was supposed to be all about hope for healing and a chance to reclaim a normal life, a series of new conflicts, buried truths, and unnamed traumas suddenly resurface, pulling him into a dark and unfamiliar vortex. When Drew decides to step into his life, offering critical help for his treatment process, Kai has no idea that this intervention will be the key to unlocking a terrifying secret he was never prepared to face. Drew is not just a medical companion. He is the witness to hushed conversations, the keeper of fragmented memories tied to Kai's real circumstances, facts about his identity and a medical experiment he may have unknowingly been a victim of. When Drew hints that there may have been a modification in the original medical records, a change in the real cause behind Kai's paralysis, which had always been believed to be the result of an accident, Kai begins to spiral, as the very foundation he had relied on to understand himself starts to crumble. In that moment, a new fear quietly takes root. No longer just the fear of permanent immobility, now it's the fear of losing control over the truth of who he is, what happened to him, and who let it happen. The truth Drew is holding appears to reach beyond medical files, into a chain of hidden actions, possibly orchestrated by an organization or an individual who has manipulated Kai's life without his knowledge. As Kai confronts each layer of these unraveling truths, the shadow of the past becomes clearer, a ghost without form, but one that suffocates him. Trina Robinson, the girl Kai trusts and loves, becomes his only anchor in the storm. Yet, she too is part of the growing anxiety inside him. Trina is beginning to sense something is wrong, a shift in how Kai looks at her, how he hides his pain behind forced smiles. Though Kai says nothing, Trina knows something inevitable is coming. Her sensitive heart urges her to stay not just out of love, but from a deeper instinct, a mental confirmation that, if Kai falls, she will be the one left to carry the pieces. Trina never imagined herself having to sacrifice anything, but now, as she sees Kai going through each test, each tense conversation with Drew, and each sleepless night haunted by nameless nightmares, she knows she can't stand by and wait. Trina is preparing to enter this battle alongside him, not just as his lover, but as the keeper of his remaining humanity, the part that still makes him who he is amidst a world trying to erase that identity with a truth too painful to bear. But that's what terrifies Kai more than any physical pain. Because if the truth about that surgery is part of a larger conspiracy, if he is merely a cog in a long-hidden medical experiment, if that surgery was never just a symbol of hope but the final trap in a darker test, then what happens when Trina is pulled into it? What happens if the only person who still believes in him ends up witnessing not just his physical collapse, but his complete psychological breakdown? Kai can't say it out loud. He can't speak the words, but inside, he's screaming. Because every step he takes toward the operating room is a step that pushes Trina closer to the edge. And while he's haunted by questions with no answers, something is silently unfolding, a moment when Trina will be forced to choose. Either stay and face the truth or walk away to preserve the last beautiful memory of the boy she once loved. Kai doesn't know what awaits him on the other side of the surgery. But one thing he knows for sure, he's not just fighting for his life, but for the last shred of peace belonging to the girl who believed in him, when the whole world has begun to doubt his very existence. The new story about Sonny Corinthos is no longer just the familiar schemes he's faced in the past. This time, it's a nightmare more sophisticated and ruthless than ever. As the shadows of old enemies have yet to disappear, a new undercurrent begins to rise silently from behind the scenes. At the center of it all is Jack Brennan, once considered an ally, now laying a cruel trap, with Sonny at the heart of it. Colette Moreau, the mysterious woman who once appeared as a nurse, is now revealed to be carrying out Brennan's latest orders. No guns or knives this time. The chosen weapon is a sophisticated toxin capable of killing without a trace. A drug that gradually weakens, disrupts the nervous system, and causes a vague state of mental and physical deterioration, and by the time it's noticed, it's too late to reverse. This is what is being quietly administered into Sonny's body, drop by drop, hour by hour, day by day, like a ticking clock waiting for the final moment to strike. Brennan doesn't just want Sonny gone, he wants it done in silence. In a way that Port Charles could never trace back. But what Brennan didn't anticipate is the unbreakable bond between Sonny and Carly Spencer. As Carly begins to sense something's off, the odd look in Sonny's eyes, the unexplained headaches, the brief moments of disorientation, her instincts, honed by years in the dark world of power, kick in. Carly feels the shift, and she refuses to stand by. But this also puts Carly in new danger. She begins to investigate, and instantly becomes the next target. Brennan knows that if Carly connects the dots between Colette and the poisoning plot, the entire operation could collapse. So now, the battle isn't just between Brennan and Sonny, it's between a hidden system built over years, and two people who've been betrayed more times than they can count but have never backed down. As Carly digs deeper, she uncovers shocking evidence. The drug Colette is using can be traced to a batch of experimental medication lost from a military research program, and Brennan has a direct link to the supply. A covert alliance is funding, supplying, and empowering Brennan to carry out a plan not just to eliminate Sonny physically, but to destroy his image, to render him unfit to lead, vulnerable, and easily removed. Even more terrifying, if Sonny dies from this slow kill, Brennan won't just erase an enemy, he'll set a new precedent, that even someone like Sonny Corinthos can be taken down from within, without a single shot fired. And Carly, no longer just the woman behind Sonny, is now the frontline fighter in a war where the price could be her life. Every step she takes, every person she meets, every glance exchanged in the hospital hallway or a hidden government office could be a trap, a looming threat. But Carly won't back down. She knows that if this continues, if Brennan isn't stopped now, not only will Sonny die, but Port Charles will fall into a darker era than ever before. And what makes this even more chilling, Sonny, slowly being poisoned, still doesn't know the truth. He thinks it's just stress, age, lingering damage from years spent dancing on the edge of life and death. He has no idea that the very woman who once held his hand through those life or death nights is now quietly killing him, under the orders of someone who once called himself a friend. The madness isn't over. Brennan won't stop. Colette won't quit. And Carly won't forgive. A silent but brutal war is about to begin, where even one slip, one moment of hesitation, could cost a life, or more. Lulu Spencer is making her way back with a weight no one in the Quartermain or Falconary families could have anticipated, not one of sorrow or fragility, but of the strength of a woman who lost everything and now refuses to let the truth be buried for even a moment longer. In the darkness of the past, Lulu had let everything slip from her grasp: Dante, the child she never got the chance to raise, and the dream of a real family. But now that she's awake and seeing everything with a clarity sharper than ever, Lulu is proving that she won't back down from anyone, especially Brooklyn Quartermain. Brooklyn knows it. She feels the mounting pressure from Lulu's presence, not in words, but in glances, in the distance that hangs in every conversation. In the silent moments when Lulu looks at Gio as if waiting for him to call her mom. The threat Lulu brings doesn't come in the form of a direct confrontation. It lies in the possibility that she might expose a shocking truth: Gio is not an adopted child, but the biological son of Brooklyn and Dante, a secret Brooklyn has kept from both Dante and the world. This is no longer just a shocking revelation. It's a ticking time bomb, counting down with every step Lulu takes toward Dante. Each time they draw closer, Brooklyn's heart skips a beat in fear. Because Lulu doesn't just have the right to reveal the truth, she has the motive. After everything she's lost, Lulu may now be wondering why she should stay silent any longer. And if she decides to speak up, it won't just break Dante's heart to find out he's been lied to. Gio would be shaken to the core. And Port Charles would witness one of the most intense family crises in its history. Brooklyn, once a fortress of confidence and determination, now feels her walls cracking piece by piece. Every time she tries to dismiss Lulu's scrutinizing eyes, every time she tells herself that she kept the secret to protect her son, those excuses lose their strength. She knows, what Lulu carries isn't just anger. It's proof. And if that proof comes to light, Brooklyn's reputation, her relationship with Dante, and the very foundation of the family she's building with Gio could all go up in flames. Everything is simmering on the fire of a truth that's been suppressed for far too long. Each time Dante hugs his son, Brooklyn feels like a traitor. Every time Gio calls her mom, without knowing he's the result of a buried love story, her heart grows heavier. As for Lulu, she says little, but she's waiting. Not for revenge, but to reclaim what was taken from her, the truth, a child, and the life she was robbed of. Meanwhile, Dante remains completely unaware. He believes the past has been put to rest, that Lulu is just a memory, and that Brooklyn has given him a new future. He doesn't realize that future is built on secrets, that the woman he trusts most is hiding something that could destroy everything they've built together. And so, in a tangle of strained relationships, wary glances, and unspoken pain, Port Charles stands at a crossroads. One confession could blow everything wide open. One decision by Lulu could reshape the fate of 3 lives, and one innocent boy at the heart of the storm that's about to erupt. Christina is no longer the girl who once stayed silent or avoided conflict. When she discovered the truth, that Rick and Ava had conspired to blackmail her mother, Alexis, a fire of fury like never before ignited inside her. It wasn't just betrayal, it was the complete collapse of the fragile trust Christina had always tried to preserve. Even in a family that was never whole. She couldn't believe Rick, who, while not her biological father, had long been part of her extended family, would stoop so low as to target Alexis. A woman who had been a mother, a friend, and an unbreakable fighter for her children. That rage didn't allow Christina to sit still. She began to change, no longer the soft-spoken, hesitant daughter afraid of bigger powers. Now, she is a storm gathering strength, ready to tear down every limit and law to protect the woman who's been cruelly wounded. Every step Christina takes now carries weight, an unshakable resolve, a will that can't be crushed. She knows Rick is dangerous. She understands Ava is cunning. But that won't stop her from walking straight into a showdown. For Christina, silence is complicity, and she would rather challenge fate than let her mother continue to suffer. She starts tracking Ava. No noise, no attention, just quietly recording every suspicious move and conversation. Every tiny clue becomes part of a growing map of revenge. Rick isn't safe either. Christina knows he's too smart to leave clear evidence, but she doesn't need legal proof, just the perfect moment to expose them both. A moment where there's no escape. But what's more terrifying is how Christina is slowly losing herself in her quest for justice. Her ideas are becoming more extreme. She begins imagining wild scenarios, from dramatic public exposés to luring Rick into a trap where she can force a confession. She tells no one, not Sam, not Molly, because she knows they'd try to stop her. But in Christina's mind, logic and emotion have already been consumed by a raging storm, the wrath of a daughter who loves her mother enough to destroy herself to bring justice. Then comes a moment. She sees Alexis sitting alone on the porch, eyes heavy with exhaustion. Christina suddenly understands she's not just fighting for her mother, but for herself. For all the years she let Alexis weather every storm alone, cry behind closed doors, carry the weight of a family no one truly understood. Now, Christina doesn't want to stay in the shadows anymore. She's ready to step forward, confront Rick, strike back at Ava, and burn down every ounce of deceit that dared to hurt the woman she loves most in the world. And when the storm that is Christina erupts, Port Charles will never be the same again. Jocelyn is stepping into a new chapter of her life, no longer just a girl caught up in love or family matters, but a young woman full of ambition, ready to face challenges in pursuit of truth. When she approached Professor Dalton with what seemed like a harmless research proposal, there was a deeper drive behind it. She wanted to understand this man. Why had Dalton, a mysterious scholar who quietly entered Port Charles's academic scene, drawn such a strange aura of fascination, and what was hiding behind his polished intellect? But Jocelyn isn't the only one with suspicions. Emma, too, known for her sharp mind and keen sense of observation, had already started digging before Jocelyn realized. Emma noticed the odd signs only a watchful eye could catch: Dalton's evasiveness when asked about past projects, inexplicable cancellations of lectures, and former collaborators who now remained eerily silent. No one is talking, but both Emma and Jocelyn know something is deeply wrong. And as they each follow their own leads, they unknowingly dive into the same dark abyss, one that holds a truth so disturbing, one of them may not be able to accept it. Dalton, from his end, begins to feel the heat. He notices Jocelyn's piercing questions disguised as innocent curiosity. He sees Emma withdrawing from her usual neutrality. What worries him isn't that they're suspicious, it's that they're smart enough not to stop in time. The deeper they go, the more shocking their discoveries become. A past shrouded in darkness. Research tied to psychological manipulation, experimental medicine, and even mysterious disappearances overseas. Former colleagues, some missing, some who abruptly changed careers for no reason. And one who dared speak out, only to suffer a convenient accident. Emma uncovers a redacted article in the Medical Academy archives, one that harshly criticized an unethical research method. Co-authored by someone believed to be Dalton under an alias. Jocelyn, through conversations with past students, hears whispered warnings: if you really want to know who Dalton is, be ready to pay the price. Eventually, despite their rivalry, Emma and Jocelyn realize they must team up. But their alliance comes too late. Because as they piece together the last fragments of the mystery, they're pulled into something far bigger, a network already laid out, orchestrated not just by Dalton, but by a shadowy organization behind him. One capable of erasing anyone who dares reveal the truth. And so, Port Charles once again stands on the edge of a hidden catastrophe. Not with gunfire, nor explosions, but with the quiet terror of a deadly secret, the silence of fear, and the faint echo of two young women trying to shine a light into a darkness that was never meant to be uncovered. Sasha stands at the center of a whirlwind of trouble spiraling far beyond her control. Just when her life seemed to be settling into something resembling stability, everything suddenly veers off in a new direction, darker, more chaotic, and filled with unforeseen dangers. The first trigger of this spiral is her pregnancy, an event that should have been beautiful, a symbol of hope for the future. But for Sasha, it's a heavy, fear-filled burden. Not only is her body changing, but so are her mind, her heart, and her entire perspective on the world. She's not sure she's ready. Not sure if she's strong enough to be a mother, especially after all the trauma she's endured. But what makes this fear even more paralyzing is the uncertainty of whether the baby is truly safe amid the shadowy forces circling around her. Pregnancy, for Sasha, is no longer just a biological change, it's a seismic shift in her entire life. Every decision now feels weighty. Every fear becomes tangible. Every relationship is tinged with caution. While Sasha tries to make sense of what's happening inside her and around her, Jason, the man she trusts, the one she's leaned on, is suddenly pulled into an extremely dangerous situation. Jason isn't a stranger to walking the line between life and death. But this time, something is different. He isn't just being hunted by old enemies. He's being targeted as part of a larger scheme, a lever meant to tear away Sasha's last pillar of support. Jason is being used, to control her, to warn her, and if necessary, to destroy everything she's trying to protect. His danger doesn't just spark fear for his safety, it pulls Sasha into a war she never chose to fight. Part of her wants to run. To hide herself and her unborn child from everything. But another part, the one that rose again after losing her first child, after nearly losing her sanity, refuses to let her retreat. Sasha knows that if she backs down this time, she may not just lose Jason, she may lose herself forever. And in the midst of restless dreams, sudden nighttime cramps, and the anxious touches to her belly, Sasha begins to feel something deeper. As if this child didn't come just to fill a void, but to test her. To push her into a place where everything, her past, her fears, and the uncertain future, must be confronted. The pressure is mounting. Physical, emotional, and the growing threat surrounding Jason, all mixing like a storm cloud. Sasha no longer has time for hesitation. She's in the grip of a new obsession, not for her own sake, but for what's growing inside her, and for the man she cannot afford to lose again. And when all of this converges at one explosive point, the painful truth becomes clear: everything changing around Sasha isn't just consequence, it's a warning. She's being pulled into a much larger game. And this time, the price could be everything. Willow is preparing for a fateful trip to Germany. Completely unaware that this journey will become an irreversible turning point in her life, and in the lives of everyone she loves. What started as a simple medical trip, a fragile hope to explore advanced treatments that could help her stabilize after her long battle with illness, quickly transforms into something else entirely. As she sets foot in this unfamiliar land, Willow isn't just searching for a medical miracle, she unwittingly steps into an entirely new chapter, a haunting disguised as healing. The first blow isn't the climate or the loneliness of being far from home. It's the unexpected news about Michael, the man she once loved with all her heart, the father of Wiley. The person she thought was part of her past. A new face. A new Michael. A hidden identity finally beginning to surface. This revelation shakes Willow to her core. The face is familiar but disturbingly strange. Rumors from the German hospital, whispers that Michael had once been treated there under the identity of a recovering post-op patient, don't just send her into a panic. They open up a flood of questions no one seems able to answer. How could Michael still be alive without anyone knowing? Why did he vanish from her life, leaving her alone to raise Wiley and Amelia amid pain and doubt? And more importantly, is this man even the same Michael she once loved? Or has he become someone else entirely, changed by forces Willow can't yet comprehend? Michael's vague but undeniable presence sends Willow into a spiral. She's torn between hope and despair, loyalty to the present and obsession with an unresolved past. She wants to believe she's moved on, that caring for Wiley and Amelia is her only priority, that family is where life begins again. But a part of her still clings to the past, still aches for answers, still replays that final moment she saw Michael, and wonders if the look in his eyes was real. That ache pushes Willow toward reckless action. She begins investigating the hospital where Michael was allegedly treated. She questions doctors, pretends to be a relative to access medical files. She starts meeting strangers, diving deep into Germany's healthcare system, a secretive maze where people like Michael can vanish and reappear with new identities. At the same time, the weight on Willow's shoulders is growing, not just from the past, but from the looming future. Wiley is getting older, more curious about his father. Amelia is still too young to understand. But Willow knows the day will come when she'll ask, "Who is my father?" And if that man is truly still alive, if Michael is living some new life in Germany, will Willow be strong enough to face him? Or will she shatter under the weight of an unforgiving truth? Her future now feels like a cracked mirror, each fragment reflecting a different path. One with Michael, but a stranger. One without him, but filled with the false calm of denial. One where Wiley and Amelia learn the truth, or live forever inside a lie. Willow knows she can't run forever. But to face the truth may mean losing everything she's managed to hold on to. And so, standing in the cold winds of Berlin, the long shadows of the streetlights dancing across her conflicted face, Willow realizes she has no other choice. She must find the truth, no matter the cost, no matter if the nightmare never ends. Because if she doesn't, she'll never escape the ghosts lurking in her own heart.